For laying out your pattern pieces, what I did was I have my selvage edges folded together. So I have it right sides together. And then what I did after that was I just made sure that I flattened out my pieces so there's no wrinkles in my fabric anywhere. If you need to, you should probably iron your fabric if it's really wrinkly and it might affect the outcome of your project. So as I laid out my pattern pieces, I have a few different pattern pieces that I laid out and cut out. First, I always want to start with my largest pattern piece, which was my back pattern piece. And in your directions, you will see that there is a section where you can fold it a few different ways and cut it out a few different ways. But essentially, if you have a zipper and it's in the back, usually you will want to lay out your fabric lengthwise with the selvages together, unless it's indicated that you have it horizontal. So this is my biggest pattern piece. And what this one is it's piece number 2 and it's the back, and that you cut 2 of them. So when your fabric is folded in half, that automatically cuts 2, because when you cut through it, there will be 2 2 pieces of fabric that are cut out. Also, I wanted to make sure that I highlighted my darts. Notice how there are different sizes when it comes to darts. So I highlighted the darts. Also, with the grain line, so this arrow right here is called the grain line. I have my grain line that I want to make sure that I pay attention to. For this piece, I laid it down, and what I did was I have my measuring tape, and what I did was I measured from the bottom of my green line arrow to my fold, and it was, when I measured it out, sorry, it's kind of hard to do with just one hand and holding this, but it was about 11 and 1/8 of an inch. So if I measured from here to here, it's 11 and 1/8 of an inch. So here to here. And then I want to make sure I measure from the top of my arrow to the fold, and that has to also be the same distance. So it doesn't matter that it's 11 and 1/8. What matters is that it's the same. Let's just say from here to here, it's 13 inches. You want to make sure then from the top over, it's also 13 inches. So it does not matter what the actual measurement is. It just matters that they match. So once they match, what I'm going to do, oh, I forgot one key part, is that I put the a pin in the middle of my grain line, and that's how I moved it. I could shift it to make sure that it was even, and then I did the measuring. So what I'm going to do when it is all laid out and it is pinned, so I want to make sure that I pin it. So I'm going to pin my notches. So I have a notch up here, and that is over here. I want to make sure that I pin those. And then I want to make sure that I pin my corners, and then I fill in the gaps with pins about 3 to 4 inches. So that's my biggest pattern piece. Again, not all skirts are going to look alike. They will all look a little bit different. So this is just what my skirt pattern piece looks like. So that is the back of my skirt. And then I have my second biggest piece, which is right here. This is going to be the front. So if I look at it, it's piece number 1. It's the front for the view I'm doing. And then it says cut 1 on the fold. So my grain line's a little bit different. If you have a grain line that looks like this, that means that it's cutting on the fold. Because when you cut it out, it's going to unfold, and it's going to be it's not going to be 2 different pieces. It's going to be 1 piece, and they're going to mirror each other. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to pin on my fold first, and then I'm going to pin around it. So I'm going to pin around my pieces. Also notice my darts. With my darts, I highlighted those so I make sure that I know that they are there. Also, I have a waistband. So I did not pin that down just so I can explain it. On my waistband, tells you that it's your waistband and it says for what view. It says cut one of fabric and cut one of interfacing. So right now I care about the fabric because this is my fabric. So I don't need to cut both through both pieces because I only need one. So what you can do is you can cut it, you can pin it. So remember there's that green line. So I want to make sure that both parts of my arrow on my green line, so this part and then this part, are equal distance to the edge of my fabric to make sure that it is even. So once I do that, I put the pin in there, I move it wherever I need to, and then measuring, I'm going to pin all around my piece of fabric, or all around my pattern and my fabric, and then I will be ready to cut. So that is how you want to lay out your pattern.